My life imploded, from gym obsession to paternity doubts and back again. You won't believe the absolute train wreck my life has become. It all started innocently enough, or so I thought. My wife, bless her heart, developed this intense passion for the gym. A gym addiction as it spiraled into something I never saw coming, and honestly my wife's gym addiction is ruining our marriage. She's having an affair with a gym friend, leaving me with our unborn child. Opie, the woman I loved, had always been fit, but over the last year and a half, it was like a switch flipped. She returned to a gym she'd left years ago because of her busy schedule, and suddenly, everything revolved around it. Weekends, weekdays, pre-work, post-work, all gym. Stress, gym. Bad day, gym. Existential crisis, you guessed it, more gym. It got to the point where missing a session would send her into a tailspin, like a junkie fiending for a fix. As a naive Opie, I expressed concern, not just about the intensity of her workouts, but because I missed her. All our time together vanished into the iron-pumping abyss. I couldn't work out with her. Gym is her time, she'd say, and she refused to go to my gym. Gym became her escape, her compulsion, a way to avoid dealing with real-life problems. And let's be honest, running on a treadmill wasn't solving anything. Even our friends and family started noticing. Wow, she's spending a lot of time at the gym, they'd remark. A subtle jab at how much of her life was now gym-centered. At first, I laughed off the comments, especially the one suggesting she might be cheating. Oh? How wrong I was. Then came update 1. I scoffed at the infidelity comments at first, but those jokes quickly turned into a horrifying reality. My wife was sleeping with some gym rat, a guy she'd mentioned countless times. The rage exploded. A confrontation ensued, complete with a broken phone and her hitting me. I stormed out, only to return to a remorseful wife who conveniently couldn't remember the specifics of her betrayal. I was left with a gaping wound and zero answers and riddled with guilt for even having gotten angry in the first place. Fast forward to February 12th and the truth bombs kept detonating. Not only did she admit to the affair, but she said she wasn't even that sorry about it. She might even be in love with the guy and, brace yourself, there was a chance the baby she was carrying wasn't mine. She'll get a paternity test, though stellar work. My jaw slammed into the floor. Just 10 days later, on February 22nd, the next bomb dropped. My wife was moving in with her AP, proclaiming their undying love. And the cherry on top, she was suddenly hesitant about that paternity test. She was going to go through with it, but not until she found somewhere else to live first. It was a shock. It was more than a shock, I was devastated. Thankfully, a paternity test was still conducted. The gym rat wanted one, so one we had, and against all odds, on February 29th, it came back positive. I was a father. Relief washed over me, quickly followed by a fresh wave of despair. I was going to be the father of a child born into this absolute mess. A disaster brought on by my wife. March 15th brought yet another confrontation, this time with the AP himself. Wife brought the guy from the gym over to gather belongings and to my house. A brief, tense exchange escalated when I found him still loitering in my living room after he had been asked to leave. I exploded, landing a cold clock on the gym bro's jaw. Update 5 rolled around and nothing had improved. Wife was still legally mine, but completely devoted to living with and loving the other guy. It was an implosion of epic proportions, adding insult to injury. The AP had a problem with the fact that I was going to be in the delivery room when the baby was born, proving that ruining a marriage, housing another man's pregnant wife, just wasn't enough for him. As I prepared to sell our house and split the profits, at least I got to keep the dog, thank God. My wife's sister dropped a bombshell. Wife was already complaining about the AP, calling him selfish and accusing him of spending too much time away from home. Karma, I suppose. I ended that update with a sliver of satisfaction. At least my soon-to-be ex was miserable. Then came May 19th, and I felt the need to let everyone know I was still alive. The support I'd received had been overwhelming, but I needed to step back from the TikTok and YouTube spotlight. The messages were piling up, and I just couldn't bring myself to talk about my wife and her AP anymore. Now, here we are, less than 10 weeks away from the baby's due date. I'm nowhere near prepared, but I've started working on the nursery. Ex-wife, it's easier to call her that. Even complimented my color scheme and furniture choices. I even packed up her stuff. She came over to pick it up and things were civil. No arguments, just an awkward exchange. She even started to tear up, admitting she FD up. I agreed, pointing out that it was too late to talk about it now. She had her muscle-bound day to go home to, after all. She tried to butter me up, saying she really wanted me to be there for the birth. That she needed me there. I'm trying to be indifferent, but it's hard when she's around looking at me a certain way, making me feel bad. She even invited me over to see the nursery at his house. I don't know if I can bring myself to do that. I did ask if she was safe, though. As pissed as I am, I don't want her or my kid to be in danger. Her sister's comments still nag at me. They probably won't last, but the thought of my newborn going home to that house is devastating. She insists she's fine, that he genuinely loves her, is great with kids, and accepts the baby as part of the package. She even claims it's not weird because she wasn't pregnant when they started their affair. When I asked her why she let it happen in the first place, she just shrugged and shut down, running away as usual. Overall, I'm doing okay. I'm not drowning my sorrows in scotch every night anymore. Well, not every night. I'm getting used to my new normal, but I know it's all going to change again soon. We have a draft custody plan, but the court won't approve anything until after the baby is born. Right now, she's on board with everything, but there's plenty of time for her or the AP to change her mind. She plans to breastfeed, but with the agreement that she'll pump so the baby can drink from a bottle when she's with me. At this point, she seems to want me to be involved. Then came July 2nd, a little girl. I'm a dad. It was like something out of a dream. She was having pains on and off the day before, and at about 8:30 a.m., she told me she was having contractions 17 minutes apart, and because the same thing had happened not long ago, I went to work. A little later she said they were 15 minutes apart and had other signs it could be labor, and that she wanted me to be there. I dropped everything at work to be with her and went to his house. There was obvious tension because he wasn't there. She didn't even contact him, she just wanted it to be us. I was supportive, but I was looking through his things and trying to time contractions while doing so. It was getting closer to his arrival, and planning to confront him, she called me into the bathroom to ask her if my water had broken. He gets home as the water breaks. I had been there with her, but all he asked was, "What are you doing here?" He thought I was sleeping with her. Then he called me buddy after he had left his pregnant fiancée alone to labor. It was humiliating. She texted me later. She was at the hospital, and I was still expecting him to call me or tell me the next day about the baby. I was allowed in the room. She wanted me to be. He was there too. It was humiliating. The guy kept trying to police what I could see, and was very clearly jealous when I put the baby in his wife's arms. I just decided to stay dignified and ignore him. He was watching, and to him it's just his wife and their baby. The baby came flying out. She had a very bad tear, but both were okay. I went home and rested before going back to the hospital the next day to find that he was there, and had given us time alone with the baby. A while after, he even brought us food, and I questioned if he was poisoning it. I eventually left because it was too much. The guy had already started posting pictures online. He was holding our baby, and there was nothing I could do about it. I caved. I asked her to come home with me when she was discharged. Not for me, of course, but for the baby. I couldn't stand the thought of my newborn going home to another man's house. I know I shouldn't have, but the words just spilled out. She said she couldn't. He's done so much for her. He moved her in, set up a nursery, and loves her, even with the baby baggage. She's convinced she'll never find anyone else who will accept her and our child, so she can't risk losing him. I tried to reason with her, told her she didn't owe him anything, but she wouldn't budge. I want to, but I just can't, she said, tears streaming down her face. I left, unable to watch them drive off to his house. It's all her doing, but somehow, I felt like I'd failed. I tried to set boundaries, demanding that he stop posting pictures of my daughter online. He played it off at first, saying he was just proud and happy for my wife. I had to spell it out for him. She's my kid, not yours. If you're serious about respecting me as a father, you'll respect my request. He finally relented, but I could tell he was seething. Then came July 24th. A live update. A deluge of problems had washed over me, topped with a huge hole in my wall, forcing me to move out of my own house. But on the bright side, I was still on paternity leave and spending time with my daughter. We had a schedule, but I still found myself helping my wife out during the day, just for the chance to bond with my little girl. Breastfeeding wasn't going well, which, while sad for my wife, made things a little easier for me. One day, she called me in a panic, claiming she was on the verge of a mental breakdown. It was a line I'd heard before, usually followed by another trip to the gym. But this time, she couldn't escape that way. She wouldn't talk to anyone, wouldn't seek help. Sometimes we even had, dare I say, a good time together. We took the baby on her longest walk yet, all the way from his house to mine. Things were fine, even joking. But then, after being at my house, our former shared house, for a little while, she turned really sad. She finally admitted that this wasn't how it was supposed to be. That my house was her daughter's real home. That she was only supposed to have one home. She sobbed, saying she was homeless and didn't belong anywhere. She confessed that she'd FD up really badly and didn't want to share custody, or only see her daughter half the time. She just wanted to come home. But she loves him and thinks he loves her and our daughter, and doesn't want to hurt him after he's done all this. That's when I lost it. I told her that what she wants for her kid should be more important than his feelings. If he can't get over the fact that the married, pregnant woman he was sleeping with wants her kid to grow up in a single home with her actual father, then he can F off. And if she couldn't tell him that herself, I would. We argued, then discussed, then argued again, laying out all the things we don't like about each other in our relationship. In the end, we were both able to say what we needed, but she was too overwhelmed to make any changes. So, we're at an impasse. Then, July 28th, my wife has moved home. For now, the repairs to my house were done, and I was back under my own roof. And, in a moment of questionable judgment, I slept with someone else, the ex-wife of a friend. We were both just trying to get over our former spouses, but it was too weird to be anything more than friends. Within hours, my wife texted me, saying she wanted to come home. It was like she sensed something. She claimed she was ready. I called her and told her I didn't want her to come home and be in a relationship again. That she didn't get to just decide that's what's going to happen. She backtracked, saying she just meant move back in. That she was serious about wanting our daughter to be in one home. I'm so mixed up about everything. But ultimately, I want my daughter living in my house 24/7, and I don't want another man helping to raise her. So, I caved again. Today, I showed up at his house to help her move some things, fully expecting her to have changed her mind. They were arguing when I got there. The baby was crying. She was crying, packing things in bags. He was begging her to stay, offering to do anything. He accused me of this being my idea. Maybe it was. It was obvious she had just sprung the news on him. She kept repeating that she just wanted her child raised in one home, and that his home wasn't really their home. We got back to my house and she's obviously an emotional mess. Not 15 minutes later, he shows up at the front door. She didn't want to talk to him, but he wouldn't give up. He was out on the porch, loudly proclaiming things like, "That's not what you were saying when you were blowing me last night." I had to intervene, both for the sake of the neighbors and my own sanity. I tried to calm him down, even sympathizing with him a little. She runs away. That's what she does. I may have said a few things to make him realize he doesn't want to be involved in this mess. I don't think he'll give up so easily. It sounds terrible, but once she was at my house, I sort of found myself wishing she'd leave with him. I know I wanted her to come home, and I tell myself it was mostly due to the baby. But now I'm wondering what the hell I've gotten myself into. She denied blowing him last night, claiming she hasn't done anything with him since the baby was born and been only thinking about me. I didn't believe her. Out of spite, I told her I slept with someone else. I know I only did it to hurt her, and I feel bad about it now. She demanded to know who. I told her it wasn't her business. So now, we're awkwardly existing. I don't have much faith that she's going to stay here. I think she'll be back at his place within the week. I've told her that he's not allowed over here, that he has no business being here, and if we're raising our daughter in the same house together, then she can't just run off to his house to be with him whenever she feels like it. She says she knows, and she wants me to want to be with her again. That she'll prove to me she can be a good partner. She tried to kiss me, and I rejected her. She's upset. She's taking a nap now. I feel like I've dug myself into a very deep hole. As of right now, my daughter and her mother are here under my roof. But at what cost and for how long I don't know. It could be a very long time. So, I need your honest opinion. After hearing all of this, do you think I handled this situation correctly? Was I right to let her back into my house? Was I wrong to sleep with someone else? Should I have just let her go back to the AP and focus on co-parenting from afar? Your thoughts are truly valued, so please tell me everything you're thinking, no matter how harsh it might be.